Okay, so welcome again to another lecture video that we will be having for communication skills. And welcome to end term. For the end term, we'll be discussing group communication and group teams. Also, we will be discussing the persuasive speeches and other speeches that you will be having for your end term exam. No? So instead of the written or multiple choice exam, we'll be having a uh, persuasive speech that will be further discussed to you probably at the end of the term, no? Before the exam starts. So for the end term, we will be focusing more on communication and speeches. No? So that's the topic for the enter. Now for today, we will be discussing what is the importance of the so-called group communication and teams, because sooner or later you will be having a job, no, your dream job probably, or your stepping stone as a job, no, to fulfill your dreams. And in a certain job that you have, there is so-called camaraderie, and you have to make sure that you have the right communication, so that your relationship with other colleagues or co-employees or co-workers will be harmonious enough for you to last in that certain organization or certain institution, say. No? So, as an introduction, being in a group is part of everyday life, and many of us will belong to a wide range of groups. And eventually, whether you like it or not, you have to communicate with other people for you to gain more friends, peers, and harmonious relationship, as what I'm saying, in your respective job someday. Okay, so in group communication, we have these so-called theories of communication in a certain organization or a certain institution. No? This is proposed by Kevin, no? John Stone. So according to Kevin, communication structure within your small business follows rules and guidelines, and in a certain setup, like a business setup, no, because you are in line with business courses, no? So probably you will be ending in a organization that will focus more on jobs, on about business and companies, no? So in a certain organization and institution, we have to follow rules and guidelines the moment you sign a contract to that institution or organization. So these theories of communication might help us to uh, perhaps solve the problem of each employee's facing in terms of relationship conflicts. So if you choose these communication pathways consciously, you help determine the culture of your company. If you allow the communication system to develop randomly, you might end up with a less than efficient style. Once you familiarize yourself with the traditional approaches to communication, you can decide which format best suits your company. Now, let's go to the theories of communication in a certain organization. We have the so-called critical theory. What critical theory is trying to say is that we have to resolve the conflict and the problems as soon as possible, so that it will not go up to a certain hierarchy or higher ups, no, in probably in your boss, in your um, vice president, into the president or the CEO of the company. Because in critical theory, it states that conflict is a natural state of an organization. It is inevitable, and you cannot go away with the conflict. No? even though you're trying to please everyone or everybody, you have to bear in mind that someone or somebody will dislike you despite of your effort to be nice to them, no? Because that's the way it is, no? It's a critical theory approach. So you have to understand that you must find solutions, and the word here for critical theory is to become or develop your sense of professionalism, even though you do not like the person or the person do not like you. Likewise, no. So you have to find a specific solution so that you will not be end up trying to focus on that certain problem, no, rather than your work, because conflict will uh, be in your way, no, as you do your job in a certain company or organization. So what you will do in this critical theory is that you point out the people that you might have to put an effort with in order not to uh, uh, find any possible problems with them. As soon as possible, you have to find a way, no, not to, well, um, be, the problem to become bigger, no. So you have to find a certain uh, remedy to the conflict that might arise in the future, no? So that's how critical theory suggests, no, in a certain communication in organization. Now, the upper management must always strive to motivate lower management and employees who in turn regularly lose motivation. That's the reason why, um, though it's not possible to please everybody, uh, the higher ups or the management, for example, or the hierarchy or the vice president or the CEO or the manager tries to give, no, some remedies or ways, no, on how to become harmonious in a workplace, no. One way is to give them probably employees day, wherein they can exchange conversation with one another without uh, thinking about work, no. uh, there is what you call team building, no, being organized by the higher ups, no? So those are the things, no, that the management are always trying to give, no, for their employees below, no, to motivate and to give harmonious relationship to their employees. So communication under this theory takes the role of resolving conflicts, preventing problems between groups of people, encouraging employees to do more, and providing direction that will unify the workforce under a single goal. You will be experiencing that probably. I know some of you are already working in call centers. So probably in some companies, they're trying to provide some of the team buildings, no? Even in school, no, the school are trying to give some motivational activities like acquaintance party for you to build your camaraderie with other years, no. So that's how critical theory approaches. For information theory, another theory of communication in organization, this concerned with how information travels with fewest mistakes. This is going in line with the previous theory, uh, like the critical theory, you know. So information theory must uh, is all about how accurate and precise your information being transferred to one person to another, no. So this is focusing on the communication accuracy from For example, uh, you have an information or you have a message from your manager, and you are tasked to give the information dissemination to your colleagues, no? So the role of information theory is to give the information as a channel. For example, you are the channel, and to give as much as possible the right terms that was being sent by the manager to your colleagues or to your co-employees. So that's how information theory works. So if you view your communication through the lens of information theory, you will focus on how to fix the message so that they can be altered. You might even hold the message recipient more accountable than the sender for the final version of the communication. The most important thing here is to give as much as possible precise and accurate information that was disseminated, no, from you to the employees. No. In today's time, we are already in a digital world, so we have this button of what we call forward, or a transfer of information. We have to copy paste already and then send it to the person involved. No? In a certain organization, if the higher ups wanted to give an announcement, some of them might give an official letter or a memorandum within an organization. So those are just information theories that you must bear in mind in order to or for the message to be more accurate, no? From the moment it is being transferred to you to other people. So that's the theories of communication in organization. Now in group teams and communication in organizations, we have this what we call characteristics to bear in mind, because in a small number of people, usually in when we have this hierarchy in organization or institution, we have this, of course, the higher ups who are the bosses, the middle class who are the managers, no? And the lower class who are just the mere employees, no? Or the regular employees. Now the conflict begins in a small number of people in the lower class or the regular employees, because the greater the member or the group interact, no, informally, this is the greater conflict also follows, because of course everyone is communicating below, no? Unlike the people above, no, they are only communicating about the businesses, about the strategic plans, about the stocks and bonds, for example, and they don't have enough time to chit chat. Unlike the regular employees, they have the time to, well, they have their lunch break all together. For example, they have their siesta time to talk about something and under the sun or anything under the sun. So um another thing is a positive side of it is to give a greater joy and flexibility to other people. No? The more people who are hanging out together is, well, the more fun it is. No? But bear in mind, however, when a lot of people are hanging out, of course, there are people who don't like to hang out with a lot of people. So and I think that's how conflict begins. No? Group members influence one another as they integrate, developing a sense of camaraderie, and teams are considered a subset of group. No? So when put together internally or externally with a specific target in mind, they have the capacity to generalize things, no, below, and they don't know what is happening above. No, they are only focusing on the level which they have assigned to, which they are assigned to, and That's the only thing they are focusing on. Then after that, other things might come into their way. So effective teams require clearly defined goals, operating parameters of the team, responsibilities for each members, and methods of coordinating tasks among members. So that's the work already of the middle class or the managers who are managing the people below him or below them. Okay, so that's the characteristic. For the communication content, no, um, we have here for the members and for the leaders, because well, sooner or later you will become leaders of your own companies, or probably you will become CEO of your own business, and some of us will become members of other people um businesses, no, believe it or not, no, that's the reality. So members execute tasks and meet goals more effectively when they send and receive the right information at the right time. That's the reason why we have this information theory, no, the we receive and send the right information at the right time. Now, for the managers or the CEOs or the leaders in a certain institution or organizations, managers in particular just juggle the balance timing of how much information to share and who to share and when to share. Because we have to understand that managers are trying to pinpoint who are the trusted employees here. And for the members, it will differ based on the learning styles, job level, responsibilities, in specific tasks in hand. Leaders must know their members well enough to know who can handle well how much information, as well as help each other understand the impact as he has on the team and project or the company. So that's for the communication content. Now we have these norms in a certain group, no, and we are developing these norms because we are part of a certain group, no. Some norms are good, some norms are bad, no, but in professional world, no, norms must be developed in such a way that it can be part of a personal growth for the individuals, no. One way in which the group becomes cohesive is through the development of group norms. That is the standard of behavior and attitude to which the group abides and the group rules. Consider the norms in the professional world as group rules to be followed in a certain organization. Norms operate at the group level rather than at the individual level. Group norms usually operate to maintain the group and preserve its integrity rather than to check individuals' action. Now, what are the examples of group norms when we are already in a workplace? We have to meet the venue with the proper venue and the proper time, no? So be in time in a proper venue. We have to dress smartly but casually. This is, of course, to dress according to the dress code that is being imposed by the organization or institution. When we talk about dress smartly, you have to understand that you must dress the most comfortable way possible, but of course in line with the standards of the dress code of the company. You have to begin and end on time, attend as many meetings as possible, minimum of 70 meetings. Listen carefully to the current speaker. Of course, this is not new to us. No? Do your homework, be prepared before the start of the meeting. You have to review the things that was discussed last meeting so that you can participate well with the other topics for the next meeting. When speaking up, your point be relevant and concise. We already discussed this in the communicative strategy last time. No? So be on your point, no? Be relevant, and do not use any nonsense topics. Do not go away with the topic. Do not use hostile or inappropriate language or body language. Be polite and courteous. Show respect to other members of the group and their ideas. Work on the goals and objectives of the group, and do not talk or hold side conversation while others are talking. And of course, turn off your mobile phones, no, during the meeting. When we talk about group norms, it sums up to the word be respectful, no? And being respectful will of course will end up doing all of this mentioned in from the examples of groups. So be bear in mind, no, to show respect to other people when in a workplace, no, setup, or even in your household, or even in your friends, no, or even outside your comfort zone with other people. In addressing issues in group teams, no, we have this communication issues within the team should always be addressed as soon as possible, because the moment when it will be escalated above, no, from your manager to your CEO, president, automatically that will be demerit into your performance as an employee. So as soon as possible, you have to address the issue and solve the possible issues on time. First step would be to review and agreed upon rules to see to if any of this has been broken. So that's the rule of the manager already. If so, if it is an easy fix, as the rule should clearly state an outline or events when rules are broken. If it is outside of the scope of the rules, the team should meet to discuss the issues and may consider bringing in an outside party such as human resource to mediate, particularly the leader is involved in the communication problem. That's the thing that I'm saying. No? The moment kung hindi ma-resolve, no, ang issue or ma-address ang issue within yourself kung hindi ma-solve, the human resource or the HR will come in, or the team leader or the manager will come in to resolve the problem. Okay, so I think we have tackled already the things that must be tackled for today, and expect for an LMS activity after this, no? So please visit the LMS, and that will fall on the asynchronous time that we have. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you learned something today, and see you all next meeting.